I got 12 o'clock. We good on AV? Good? Cool, we're going to get started. So everybody that's coming in still, if you haven't heard, please come up front. I have a big pet peeve, and I am very, very shy. I cannot talk to strangers at all. I'm the dude that goes to the parties, sits in the corner and hopes that there's a dog there to pet. Right? So everybody come up, be my friend, okay? Come on. Seriously, this is a management talk. Everybody come on up. Yeah, so that's going to make it much more fun and not boring. Okay, so like I said, this is a management talk. This is a lot different than the talks I'm usually giving. I'm not releasing any new tools today. I'm not dropping any O-days here. We're going to talk about something a lot more important, though. We're going to talk about how to get our work done. Because if you see my bonus talk, we kind of covered it a little bit, but how many here have trouble getting budget for security? Yeah, it's going to be all of us, right? As an industry, we're terrible at it. And we're going to talk about kind of why that is right now. And we're going to talk about how do we solve this. So, during my technical talks, I usually have hands-on workshops. Since it's a management job, we're going to have a hands-on management workshop. So, how many here is their first security conference ever? Wonderful, good, good, good. First GrrCON. Oh my goodness. All right, there's something really cool about this industry and this community that we've built over the years. Everybody here is really here to help each other. That's why I'm up here speaking. I want to make sure that you learn from my mistakes, and then we can have the conversation and kind of just further the industry. So we're going to take 2 minutes. I'm going to put it on my phone, and we're going to turn around, introduce ourselves. I don't care if you use your real name, your hacker handle. I don't care. But what we're going to do is talk about the one thing that is pissing us off about the industry. Okay? And you're going to find out that we have a lot of commonalities. So 2 minutes on the clock. Turn around. Find somebody new. Go. How you doing? Ryan. Ryan. Pleasure. What's pissing you off? Budget. Yes. Good.
Management that is shoot from the hip.
Yes.
No,
it's terrible, isn't it?
They just have no idea what to do. I get an email chain right now from like too long C-level execs. I'll argue with each other.
What don't they understand?
That they should just pay somebody to do what they don't understand. Ultimately.
Yep. Yeah. It's a weird place that we're in, right? Like, oh, we need marketing. The CEO is not the marketer, right? We hire people for that. But for some reason, people think that they're security experts, or we don't have problems at all, right? So, yeah.
Well, we got a new CISO, which is great, but he's arguing with the other guys and wants to do too much with no resources, and it's like they've already hired a company that actually offers what they're having trouble with. But just give them 10 grand.
Do it.
Problem solved.
Right? Excellent. Pleasure talking. Hey, thank you. 1 minute warning. If you have not switched, make sure you switch. Ooh, that's bright. Ten-second warning. Wrap it up, wrap it up, wrap it up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I always wanted to do that. That's really cool. All right, so again, this is Hacking the Boardroom, how to talk to executives and secure your budget. Because we're all social engineers here. We are all techs. We all know how to hack stuff. Why can't we do this to our boardroom to get our budget? So today we're going to talk about, everybody, meet pro tip Pete the Parrot. This is PTPTP for short, I think. He's going to be coming up in our presentations, just offering a little bit of advice as presentation styles and everything. Always have an agenda. People forget the agenda slide all the time. So why is an agenda important? Anybody remember giving directions before Google Maps, GPS, MapQuest? Right? It was, all right, you're going to go to this intersection, you're going to take about 5 minutes, you're going to see a big rock on the corner, you're going to take a right there, there's going to be a white chapel, you're going to take a left there, right? So back in the day, we used to have this mental map on how to get from point A to point B. You never miss the Whitechapel. It's right on your left. Just pass it, and then 30 minutes later, you're calling them, right? So what we want to make sure is our audience doesn't get lost. So we're going to build a mental map on where we're going. I'm putting my head, because I know what this presentation is. Some of you might have cheated and download it off of GitHub. Everything is up here, publicly available. Twitter, GitHub, slide deck, it's all over the place. If you can't find it, come talk to me. I'll get you the deck. Feel free to take pictures. But we're building this mental map on, we're at point A, we're going to get to point B. This is how we're going to do it, right? So the objective of this talk is to talk, basically. We're going to talk about how do we talk better, though. We need budget. We need to do this stuff to get the job done. We're going to talk about 4 things. We're going to talk about framing the problem. We're going to talk about how to make that problem real. Then we're going to talk about explaining the solution and then doing it, right? So, for this presentation, I will be reading the PowerPoint. No. I see this all the time. We're given technical talks. The slides have 800 words on there. Font size is 8. And we're like, oh, you see? Like, no. There's this great feature on your computer called text-to-speech now. If I wanted to hear you read your slides, I could just highlight it and say, talk to me, computer. They're not here to read your slides. They're not here to listen to your slides. They're here to watch you speak. They're here to listen to you. They want to hear your story. Your slides should be visual representations of what you're talking about to help you tell that story. No more, no less. Okay? So, again, I said we're going to talk about frame the problem. So let's frame the problem. This is something we do terribly as an industry. So, from our exercise before, shout out one of the problems that we have. Overworked. All right. Give me some more. Budget. Success is not appreciated. All right, these are a lot of human problems. Do we have technical problems? Too many tools, not enough management. Cool. So let's pick one of these problems and focus in on why do I care? So here, does anybody do vulnerability management here? Okay. Is it a struggle? Or are we just producing reports? People patch it. It's wonderful. We're in the green. We're at 95% patch, right? No, it's terrible. Right? So we know that we need to do vulnerability management. You don't need to convince me of that. But you do need to convince your boss. So let's frame the problem, right? So why is vulnerability management a problem? Why do we need it? Patch Tuesday. Okay, why do I care? We're going to lose data. Why do I care? My data is public. Equifax. Have you seen their stock since they got breached? It's up. Right? Why do I care if I get breached? We're going to lose money. Okay, cool. So, reputation. Cool. How do we quantify that? Because if I look at recent breaches, has anybody here stopped shopping at Target since they got breached? We got 1, 2, 3. Ooh, cool. Home Depot? TJ Maxx? You stop banking at Wells Fargo or Bank of America? Or everybody's breached. Who cares? Why am I spending money? This is where framing the problem comes in. So I'll give you a story. Because I like telling stories. So anybody here have to sell a SIM project? I'm not talking about selling Splunk, but like we need detections and correlations and all that stuff. Yeah. So I give my presentation. You know, we give everything like, oh my goodness, look at all these problems that we have. And then I'm going to need to put this in. So Splunk, oh my God, I'm going to need 32 distributed systems to handle the indexing. We're going to have hot, cold storage, blah, 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 blah. But at the end, we're going to have all these problems that we can fix them. Boss looks at me and goes, Ryan, you must think I'm an absolute idiot. Like, oops, sorry, swing and a miss on that one. What do you mean, sir? I was like, well, so right now we have no problems, and you're asking for money to go create problems, and then you're going to ask me for more money to go fix those problems. Why the hell would I do that? Like, well, that's an important lesson learned. Didn't explain why it matters to him. So maybe there's something going on here. So stats. We all know we need budget. The more budget that we have, the more good things we can do. So on the left, we see spend. It's left, right? Yeah. On the left, we see spend coming up from 2010 to 2018. We're spending more and more, so we should see incidents go down. So on the right is the incident graph, and it's not going down. It's going the other way. So as somebody outside of the industry, you go, so you're telling me the more money I invest, the more incidents we have. All right, maybe I'm playing games with stats, right? Let's take a real-world example. Facebook 2017 says they're going to bolster security. They're going to double their spend from $7 billion to $14 billion. And in less than a year, they're breached on 50 million accounts. Oops. Maybe if they spent that extra 100,000, they could have stopped that one. So there's something going on here, right? So let's talk about how these things are framed, right? Everybody knows the Capital One breach by now, right? Okay, so this was a headline from the Washington Post, I believe. That source is down here. Right? Yeah, it's Washington Post. So if I'm reading this, I look and Capital One was breached because they embraced cloud services. Does anybody know what's special about the relationship between Washington Post and Amazon, AWS?
They're owned by
Same owner. So you literally have the only media outlet that is incentivized to spin this in a positive way for AWS, and they still say, and in the end, the embrace of cloud services couldn't save them. It's like, if I read this, this is what this is telling me. Is cloud bad? No, did anybody know how they actually got breached? Unsecured S3 budget? They were breached by somebody that helped them set up. Yes, that is one story. Anybody else know the other stories? Misconfigured firewall. Anybody else know the other stories? Admin. Anybody else know the other stories? Metadata servers, right? What else we hear? Unpatched since 2015, right? We are the security industry and we still can't get a good, cohesive story on what happened. So here's my challenge to everybody here is, if your executives are getting their security news from the news media, you already lost your game. They need to be coming to you to understand, hey, what happened at Capital One? Do we need to care about it? Can you explain to me how they could have mitigated this? Start briefing your executives and your management on all these things happening in the news, because news is going to get it wrong every time, right? So if we want them to understand our problems, we should understand them problems. Does anybody know how to answer this one? Make money. It's a good start. If I make $1 and I invested $100 billion, is that a good business? It's probably not. So there's something more to it. So we want to make money. What else do we want to do? Profits. Okay, cool. We're getting there. So if I'm Pepsi and I make $100 million, and I'm Coke and I make $1 billion, is Pepsi successful? Depends on what your costs are. Cool. So, pro tip, Pete. He's going to help us out. The objective of business is to provide an abnormal long-term return. Withholding nonprofits, charities, mom and pops that have different things to kind of take care of the company, right? Majority of us are working in public sector. The objective of a business is to provide abnormal long-term returns. Abnormal is important because if I can provide 3%, but my competitor provides 10%, the money should be invested there. As a member of the board, my job is to make sure that the investment from my owners is being spent in the best way possible. So if I'm making 3%, my competitor's making 10%, it should be my recommendation to go invest in the competitor. That never happens, but that should happen, right? So long-term returns, because if we make $1 million today, but we lose $10 billion next year, that's not a good business, right? So abnormal long-term returns. So again, how does this relate, right? So let's frame the problem. So shout out one of the programs that you guys are working on. Nobody's working on anything. We're at a conference, we're drinking. Network visibility, cool. So I need a project for network visibility. How does this support the abnormal long-term return of the company? Anybody? Okay. Let's break it down. Right? So we work in security. Oftentimes, if we're not in a cybersecurity firm selling our services as security professionals, we're not going to be adding value to the business. Right? Chances are we're costing the business a lot of money. We're expensive. It's nice, but we're expensive. Right? So why do we care about add value or reduce cost? Because this is one of the basic principles that everybody knows in management. We need to make the profit go up. So that leaves us two things. We can raise the revenue or we can decrease the cost, right? That's easy math. So network visibility. Are we going to add revenue to the company if we got more visibility into our network? Cost. Are we making costs go up or down? Why would I approve your project? All right, so here's the fundamental issue. Does anybody know a different industry that is not security that operates like security from a business model perspective? Because what do we really do as security professionals? If we're not adding value or reducing cost, what do we do? Manage risk, de-risk the situation, right? We're protecting this formula, right? We're protecting the profits because we can protect the revenue stream, right? We know that if we don't have security, revenue isn't going to be coming in because you don't have a business. You got breached, you're gone. The revenue drops. Let's take our network visibility. We can actually reduce costs with network visibility because right now we need to staff a SOC of 35 people because we got all these different logs coming in and we're trying to correlate different things and it's just taking way too much manpower. If we had better visibility, we could actually reallocate some of those resources elsewhere and kind of reduce our spend overall, right? So we can actually reduce costs, right? Vulnerability management, I'm going to go harp on that one because it's a terrible topic. Vulnerability management done right is going to reduce your patching cost and it's going to reduce your IT maintenance cost because let's say we don't patch everything. We can offer them an 80-20 rule idea on this is the patch that you care about, you need to get this patch in, right? We're going to reduce the cost on IT maintenance. This is how we have to be talking, okay? Now again, this might be too hard. There's one last trick I can show you. So, your boss has a button. Not that button. Don't press that button. That's the button that makes you work nights and weekends. Don't press the red button, press the green button. What gets your boss excited, right? When you're talking about something, what does your ears perk up? Chances are it's tied to his objectives and his goals. If you don't know your boss's goals, ask. Ask them, because that's going to be tied to the company's success. And the other thing is it's going to be tied to his or her bonus. And that makes anybody excited, right? I come to you, I'm going to say, I'm going to do this work and it's going to make you money. I'm excited, right? If you're not reporting straight to the CISO, how's your CISO's bonus structure work? You make the CISO happy, chances are you're going to get some budget, right? Find this button, press it as often as possible. Right? That's going to start the conversations on, yes, I understand the problem, right? I've framed the problem effectively. This is why it matters to the business. So in conclusion, we need to educate our management. We can't be letting them get in their security news from the news. Okay? We're going to relate the solution to the business and the problem and why this matters and how it affects the bottom line. And we're going to press that boss's button all the time, right? So that's step one. Step two is making the problem real. Everybody knows Deming, right? Process genius of the 80s, 70s, 80s, somewhere around there. Stickler for metrics, right? So if anybody here has never managed KPIs or metrics or anything, go pick up this book. It's on Amazon, ebook, read it on the way home. It gives you a very good fundamental understanding of what measurements and metrics are. How many of you get asked this? I should see more hands. This is our one job, right? So how do we answer this one? Not stopping those Russians, right? We are maintaining an appropriate level of insecurity. Okay. How do we know? All right. If you can answer these questions, chances are you can skip this part of the talk. The problem is, when we get asked if we're secure, we throw out a whole bunch of words, and this is what they see. Sometimes we're not even using words. Oh, I'm going to need a new SIM to write IOCs, and I'm just spitting letters now. This is really hard to understand if I'm not in the industry. This is easy. I don't have to know about your firewalls or anything to know something happened between April and May, and since the graph is green, it's probably good. Cool. Got progress. This is simple. So thank you for coming to talk. This is all you need to do. No. So how do we get here? All right. So if you're in the American education system, you probably learned the scientific method back in 3rd or 4th grade. All right, we're going to ask questions. We're going to make observations. We're going to form a hypothesis. We're going to figure out how to test that. We're going to gather some data. We're going to make recommendations off of what we find. Excellent. Maybe you didn't learn this one. Maybe they're teaching you this in Agile 101 now. It's the OODA loop, right? So I believe it was the Air Force that got credited with this. Who knows if they actually came up with it. But the theory is I'm in a dogfight. I'm a fighter pilot. I need to observe, orient, decide, and act as fast as possible to make sure that I live. Whoever has the tighter OODA loop wins a dogfight. Same thing in security, same thing in project management, same thing in business strategy. Whoever can react faster to the changing environment is going to win. There's another one out here that we cover in class. I don't like it. It's really ugly, but it kind of makes sense. So this is the critical decision map. And what they do is you tell a story. So I'm going to do this because of this, and then I'm going to do this because this. And the person you're telling the story to throws injects at you, and you handle the injects. Oh, if this were to happen, I would do this. And you make sure you get out to your fundamental objective. And if you didn't, you figure out why, and then that's your process breakdown. This is a lot of crap to remember. I'll make it easy. So there's 4 steps. What question are we trying to answer? Cool, we already did that. Frame the problem. What data is going to show us the answer? So if I want to know which is heavier, a pound of rocks or a pound of feathers, I'm probably going to weigh them. I'm going to get their masses, and I'm going to compare them, right? How we get their data? What's the scale? So if we want to relate this to security, I have a theory that it takes 8 hours from initial compromise of the laptop to full-blown compromise of the domain. How do we gather that data? Red teamers, yeah? Okay, cool. So we're going to hire the red team. We're going to come in and go, oh crap, 7 minutes is a lot less than 8 hours. Okay. How do we present the findings? This is who's our stakeholders and everything. So again, when we're going to ask, are we secure? We now have things. Oh, well, we run a phishing campaign, and last year it was a 33% click rate. We introduced new education systems. Now it's down to a 12, right? Metrics don't answer the questions. They reduce uncertainty. So now we can answer this in a fundamental way. Are we secure? Well, I'm going to throw a bunch of numbers at you, and those are going to make sense. So now I'm not talking security, I'm talking metrics, and they can understand that. I can go, ooh, that number's too big, I want to drop that number. How do I do that? Now we're talking about explaining the solution, right? So now we have them engaged in our problem. We need to talk about the solution. So we're going to throw together all these different task lists and plans. We're going to build some models about how we're going to go about it. We're going to list the project benefits, and this is what you end up with, right? Like, I already lost half of you. This is boring. Make your content enjoyable and easy to understand. Anybody know what this is? It's an eye chart. This is the man page for one of the simplest commands in commuting. This is ping. I don't want to read this. If you are not following this Twitter account, go do it now. B0RK. Julia releases comics on different commands and techniques and everything in really nice ways. I want to read how ping works now. It's a comic. This is wonderful. This is like Sunday newspaper. So how do we do that here? I referred to this in the last talk. NIST. Anybody reading NIST documents and staying awake? Nope. Right? All this is just for inventory. You need inventory. Break it down. All this stuff right here can be said in 4 sentences. Just say the 4 sentences. This is easy to understand. I can grasp it. And look, I got numbers on there too. Good. Going back to this is a terrible screenshot. Anybody know what I'm trying to convey here? Nope. Make your screenshots easy to follow. All right, I'm at a security conference. What is this trying to show? Metasploit. Cool. What am I trying to tell in my story? We have no idea. Oh, yeah, I'm trying to show you that it's vulnerable to 0867. That's a shitty screenshot. This one's a little better. What command am I running? And what am I doing? Exporting users. Cool. Which user do I care? Annotate. The solution. So this is how we solve stuff, right? We create project charters, we create project plans, proposals, all this stuff. And again, who cares? Now let's try something different. So what we're going to do is, I got this problem. It takes about an hour from initial compromise to full domain compromise. And given our response times and everything, we get about 30 minutes to hands on keyboard. So we have less than 30 minutes to react to this and actually clean it up. That's kind of crap, because there's no way we're going to do that. So what I want to do is elongate that time. And the way I'm going to elongate that is with an idea called active defense and cyber deception. That was cool. It worked. As I clicked the button, everybody's eyes straight to the screens. You started reading it. You're engrossed in it. You're going to read what I want you to read now, and you're going to like it, right? So this is wonderful because management's going to read this, and it's going to govern some questions, and we're going to start a conversation about this. But here's the problem. That is absolutely useless to us as technical people. What the hell am I going to implement here? No idea. That's why you do all this work still, because this work is going to be what enables your success to deliver on this one. Wherever we can, enable frictionless work. 6 and 7 go together. Generate the short-term wins. Make it easy to win and start gaining that confidence in your board. Because when you can do that and you sustain, the question isn't why do you need a budget, it's how much do you need? And that's a really good place to be. These guys' last step is institute change. I don't like that one. Cement your legacy. Right? This is what we're here for. So in conclusion, well, maybe one more tip. Always have a conclusion slide, because if you did this right, this is a nice little bow on your presentation, right? And dirty trick is the conclusion is just the agenda slide renamed. Because if you said, I'm going to talk about this, and you talk about it, this is what I talked about, right? I had one more of them. Cement your legacy. Yeah. Always end up calling that shit. So what I want everybody to do here, I talked a little bit about all these different problems that we have and why we have the problems and how we're going to solve them. I want you to think about personally, who do you want to be in the workplace? I want you to think about how you're going to do that. What support do you need? Who's going to help you enable your success? How do you build these relationships to make sure that you become the trusted advisor, the security professional? How do you become elite? Right? We are here to be the absolute best that we can be. Getting budget is going to enable you to do this and grow and grow and grow. And with that, I'm out of time. Thank you, everyone. I got questions in the hallway. Be elite.